Morning class. Today we will do the chapter The Physical Features of India. So, today we will start from the topic the formation of the Himalayas, or how does the Himalaya formed. So, when we talk about the Himalayas, mountain range and the Tibetan plateaus have formed as a result of the collisions between the Indian plates and the Eurasian plates, which began 40 to 50 million years ago and continues today. So the Himalayan mountains have come out of a great geosyncline called the Tethys Sea, as you can see in the image, and that the uplift has taken place in different phases. So during the Permian period, 250 million years ago, there was a supercontinent. It was known as Pangaea. Its northern part, it consisted of the present-day North America and Eurasia. It covers the area of Europe and Asia, which is called as Laurasia or Angara land or Laurentia. The southern part of this Pangaea, it consisted of present-day South America, Africa, South India, Australia and Antarctica. So this landmass was called Gondwana land. So in between this Laurasia and Gondwana land, you can see there is the Tethys, okay, which was a long, narrow and shallow sea, which we call Tethys. So all this was explained earlier in the continental drift theory if you have watched the video. As you can see the images, three different images, section A, B and C. So in the first stage of Himalayas formation, you can see Tethys Sea that lie between the two plates. There were many rivers which were flowing into the Tethys Sea. Sediments were brought by these rivers and were deposited in the geosyncline. So now this geosyncline, it was filled with the sediment compressed rocks, okay. So these sediments, they were subjected here to a powerful compressions due to the northward movements of Indian plate. This result in folding of sediments. So once the Indian plate started falling steeply below, further folded, and this raised led to the formation of the Himalayas. So now major physiographic divisions. Okay, so you can see that these divisions are the physical features of India. It is divided according to the basis of the landform or the relief features. So we broadly divide it into 6 parts. So in the north you can see the mountain, or we can call it Himalayan mountains. Then in the south of the Himalayas ranges you can find the plain, which we call the northern plain. And in the south of this plain you can find the peninsular plateau, in which you will read about two important plateaus, Central Highland and Deccan Plateau. Then you will see in the west the Indian desert, which we call very important Thar desert. Then come to the coastal plain region, and at last we will talk about the island. The two important island, one is the Andaman Nicobar Island, another one is the Lakshadweep. The Pamir are the most famous mountain convergence zone in the world. Pamir Knot is called so because many mountain ranges, they appear to spread out from a central area, outward in different direction from this small zone. To the east of the Pamir Knot, you can see it extend the Kunlun mountains, and to the north extend the Tian Shan mountains. The Himalayas emerge from the Pamir Knot towards southeast direction. The Karakoram range extends southeastward from the Pamir Knot between the Kunlun and the Himalayas. To the west of the Pamir Knot, lies the Hindu Kush range, and to the southwest radiate the Suleiman range. The Himalayan mountains. The Himalayas, geologically young and structurally fold mountain. So, geologically young mountains, which were created several dozens millions years ago, they have steep slopes and high pointed peak. They are found to be eroded less, and hence they have higher altitude than the old fold mountains. They were formed because of the folding of the earth crust due to the tectonic activities. When two plates they collide with one another. So these mountains, they were stretched over the northern border of India. When we talk about the mountain ranges, you can see that it lie or it run between west to east direction from the Indus to Brahmaputra. And the Himalayas, they represent the loftiest and the one of the most rugged mountain barriers of the world. So they form an arc which cover a distance of about 2,400 km. Their width, it varies from 400 km in Kashmir, and then you will see 150 km in Arunachal Pradesh. The altitudinal variations are greater in the eastern half than those in the western half. The Himalaya, it consists of three parallel ranges in its longitudinal extent. So you can see here three parallel ranges. One is the great inner, okay, we call Himatri, another lesser Himachal, and the last we see Shivalik ranges. And a number of valleys, it lie between these ranges. Three parallel ranges of the Himalayas. So the northernmost range is known as the Great or the Inner Himalayas, or we call it Himatri. It is the most continuous range consisting of the loftiest peak with an average height of 6,000 meters. It contains all the prominent Himalayan peaks. As you can see, the Mount Everest. Okay, and when we talk about Kanchenjunga, Nanda Devi and Nanga Parbat, they are located in India. So the folds of Great Himalayas are asymmetrical in nature. They are not similar in shape and size. The core of this part of Himalaya is composed of granite. It is permanently snow-bound, and a number of glaciers it descend from this range. So the range that lying to the south of the Himadri forms of the most rugged mountain system, and it is known as Himachal or Lesser Himalaya. The ranges are mainly composed of highly compressed and altered rocks. The altitude varies between 3,700 and 4,500 meters, and the average width is 50 kilometers. While the Pir Panjal range form the longest and the most important range. The Dholadhar and the Mahabharat ranges are also the prominent ones. The range consists of the famous valley of Kashmir, Kangra, Kullu Valley in the Himachal, and you will see Kullu Valley in the Himachal Pradesh, and this region is well known for its hill stations. So the outermost range of the Himalaya is called the Shivalik range. They extend over a width of 10 to 50 kilometers and have an altitude varying between 900 and 1100 meters. These ranges are composed of unconsolidated sediments brought down by the rivers from the main Himalayan ranges that located further north. So these valleys are covered with thick gravels and alluvium. The longitudinal valleys, it lie between Lesser Himalaya and the Shivalik, and they are known as Doon. Dehradun, Kotli Doon, and Patli Doon are some of the well-known Doons. Earlier, we discussed about the longitudinal divisions, in which we talk about the three important ranges of Himalaya: the inner, the middle, or the lesser Himalaya, and we talk about the Shivalik ranges. The Himalaya have been divided on the basis of the region from the west to east. So these divisions have been demarcated by the river valleys. So we'll see the regional divisions of the Himalaya. For example, you can take the part of the Himalayas that lying between the Indus and the Satluj has been traditionally known as the Punjab Himalaya. But it is also known regionally as Kashmir and Himachal Himalayas from west to east respectively. So the part of the Himalayas, that lying between now the Satluj and the Kali river, we call it Kumaon Himalaya. And you can see the Kali and the Tista rivers demarcated the Nepal Himalaya, and the part that lying between the Tista and the Dihang river is known as the Assam Himalayas. So there are regional names also in these broad categories. So Brahmaputra, it marked the easternmost boundary of the Himalayas. Beyond the Dihang Gorge, the Himalayas bent sharply to the south and spread along the eastern boundary of India. They are known as Purvanchal, or the eastern hills and mountains. So these hills running through the northeastern states are mostly composed of strong sandstones, which are sedimentary rocks. It is covered with dense forest, and they mostly run as a parallel ranges and valley. So the Purvanchal, it comprises the Patkai Hill, the Naga Hill, Manipuri Hill, and the Mizo Hill.